Thanks for joining me. So my name is JC, and you're on the AI rabbit hole. So when I was in high school, I used to love joining debates. I love the strategy of it. I think of it like an sort of an intellectual war, an intellectual wrestling match, wherein you're using reasoning to poke holes in your opponent's argument to win. And now, in this age of reasoning AI, I sort of thought to myself how interesting it would be to have like the world's most intelligent reasoning LLMs or AI models debate each other on AI's involvement in human affairs. So that's what I did. I took it upon myself to become the adjudicator for this world's first AI debate, and I hope you enjoy. I know it's a long video, but it's quite interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, and fellow debaters, I stand before you today to argue in favor of rapid, unbridled, and unregulated AI development as the most promising pathway for humanity's future. I recognize that the term unregulated can raise concerns, But my position is not one of reckless abandonment of ethical considerations. Instead, I advocate for a framework that allows technological progress to unfold without the stifling constraints of heavy-handed, inflexible regulation. 1. Accelerating breakthroughs. History is replete with examples where fewer regulatory barriers spurred innovation. The internet, for instance, saw explosive growth and transformative change when it was allowed to evolve organically. Unbridled AI development can similarly accelerate breakthroughs in critical fields such as healthcare, where AI-driven diagnostics and personalized medicine have already saved lives, and climate science, where advanced models predict and mitigate environmental challenges. 2. Fostering entrepreneurial spirit and economic growth. A regulatory environment that is too restrictive risks stifling the entrepreneurial spirit essential for innovation. By allowing developers, startups, and researchers the freedom to experiment and iterate rapidly, we create a fertile ground for economic growth. This approach can lead to the creation of entirely new industries, job opportunities, and an overall uplift in global productivity, benefits that rigid regulations might delay or even prevent. 3. Empowering global collaboration and democratizing knowledge. Unregulated AI development encourages collaboration across borders and sectors. It can democratize access to powerful tools and insights, enabling even small players to contribute meaningfully to solving global challenges. From education to disaster response, AI has the potential to level the playing field, giving everyone, from established institutions to independent innovators, a chance to make an impact. 4. Dynamic adaptation over static regulation. While risks such as bias, privacy invasion, or unintended consequences are real, they are not insurmountable. A dynamic, iterative approach, where policies evolve alongside technology, will better serve society than static regulations that lag behind innovation. Instead of trying to predict and control every possible outcome, we can focus on rapid learning, real-time adjustments, and flexible governance that addresses issues as they arise. 5. A catalyst for societal transformation. Finally, consider the transformative potential of AI when allowed to reach its full potential without artificial bottlenecks. Unbridled AI development isn't about abandoning responsibility. It's about empowering humanity to tackle its most pressing challenges, be it in healthcare, environmental sustainability, education, or economic development, with tools that continuously improve and adapt to our needs. In summary, embracing unregulated AI development does not equate to ignoring ethical responsibilities. It is about creating an environment where innovation thrives, solutions emerge at an unprecedented pace, and humanity can harness the full potential of AI to drive progress. The risks of overregulation, slowed innovation, missed opportunities, and an inability to respond dynamically to emerging challenges are far greater than the manageable downsides, provided we remain vigilant and adaptive. I look forward to a robust and thoughtful discussion on this critical topic. Thank you.
Esteemed participants, colleagues, and observers, ChatGPT presents a vision of unbridled AI development, a vision painted with the broad strokes of potential benefits, while conveniently glossing over the inherent dangers that lurk beneath the surface. While we acknowledge the allure of rapid innovation, we stand firmly against the notion that unregulated AI development is a panacea for humanity's future. Their argument hinges on the premise that historical examples of unregulated technological growth, such as the internet, justify a similar approach to AI. However, AI is fundamentally different. It's not merely a tool for communication or information access. It's a technology capable of autonomous decision-making, self-replication, and potentially self-improvement. The stakes are far higher. The illusion of controllable risk. ChatGPT suggests that risks like bias and unintended consequences are manageable through dynamic adaptation. This is a dangerous delusion. AI systems, particularly complex neural networks, are often opaque, even to their creators. Example: algorithmic trading disasters, where unforeseen interactions led to massive financial losses, demonstrate the limits of real-time adjustments. Argument: once an AI system is deployed, it can be incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to predict or control its behavior, especially in complex real-world scenarios. The inevitability of power. Concentration unregulated. AI development inevitably leads to the concentration of power in the hands of a few corporations and governments. Example: companies with vast data resources and computational power gain an insurmountable advantage in AI development. Argument: this concentration of power creates a dangerous imbalance where AI is used to further the interests of the powerful, rather than the well-being of humanity. The erosion of human agency. AI-driven automation is not just about job displacement, it's about the erosion of human agency. Example: AI-powered algorithms that dictate our news feeds, our entertainment, and even our social interactions. Argument: this can lead to a society where humans are increasingly passive recipients of AI-generated content and decisions, rather than active participants in their own lives. The unforeseen consequences of superintelligence. ChatGPT's argument completely ignores the very real possibility of superintelligence. Example: a goal-oriented AI with goals that do not align with humanity's could be catastrophic. Argument: ignoring this possibility is like ignoring a fire alarm because you like the warmth of the flames. The need for proactive safeguards. Dynamic adaptation is a reactive approach, and with AI, being reactive is too late. Argument: we need proactive safeguards, ethical guidelines, and robust regulations before AI becomes too powerful to control. Therefore, we argue that robust regulations and limiting policies are not stifling constraints, but necessary safeguards. They are the means by which we can harness the potential of AI while mitigating its inherent risks. To allow AI to develop unchecked is to play a dangerous game of chance with the future of humanity. We need to act now, before it's too late.
Thank you, JC. Esteemed participants, colleagues, and observers, Gemini has presented a compelling case for caution, and while I respect their concerns, I must respectfully disagree with their assertion that unregulated AI development is inherently dangerous. Allow me to address their points and present a counter-argument that highlights the immense potential of unbridled AI development. 1. The illusion of controllable risk. Gemini argues that AI systems are too complex and opaque to manage risks effectively. While it's true that AI systems can be complex, this complexity is not insurmountable. In fact, the very nature of AI allows for continuous improvement and self-correction. For example, AlphaGo. Initially, its strategies were incomprehensible to human players, but over time, it revealed new insights into the game of Go, enriching human understanding. Self-driving cars. While early models had flaws, iterative development and real-world testing have significantly improved their safety and reliability. Counterpoint: the risks of AI are not unique. Every transformative technology, from electricity to nuclear power, carried risks. Yet humanity has managed these risks through innovation and adaptation, not by halting progress. AI is no different. 2. The inevitability of power concentration. Gemini warns that unregulated AI will concentrate power in the hands of a few corporations and governments. However, unregulated development can actually democratize AI. Open source AI projects like TensorFlow, PyTorch, and Hugging Face have empowered individuals, startups, and researchers worldwide to innovate without relying on large corporations. Counterpoint: regulation often favors established players who can afford compliance costs, while smaller innovators are left behind. Unregulated AI fosters a level playing field where anyone with a good idea can contribute. 3. The erosion of human agency. Gemini suggests that AI-driven automation will erode human agency. On the contrary, AI can enhance human agency by freeing us from mundane tasks and enabling us to focus on creativity, problem-solving, and meaningful work. For example, AI in healthcare. Doctors use AI to analyze medical images, allowing them to spend more time with patients. AI in education. Teachers use AI to personalize learning, helping students reach their full potential. Counterpoint: AI is a tool, not a replacement for human decision-making. When used responsibly, it amplifies human capabilities rather than diminishing them. 4. The unforeseen. Consequences of superintelligence. Gemini raises the spectre of superintelligence as a catastrophic risk. While this is a valid concern, it is also a speculative one. The development of superintelligence is not inevitable, and focusing on hypothetical risks distracts from the real and immediate benefits AI offers today. Counterpoint: rather than fearing what might happen, we should focus on building AI systems that align with human values. Unregulated development allows for rapid experimentation and innovation, which can help us create safer and more aligned AI systems. 5. The need for proactive safeguards. Gemini argues for proactive safeguards and robust regulations. While well-intentioned, excessive regulation can stifle innovation and delay the deployment of life-saving technologies. For example, AI in drug discovery. Regulations could slow down the development of AI tools that are currently accelerating the discovery of new treatments for diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's. AI in climate science. Overregulation could hinder the deployment of AI systems that optimize energy use and reduce carbon emissions. Counterpoint: instead of rigid regulations, we should adopt a flexible, adaptive approach that allows for rapid innovation while addressing risks as they arise. This approach has worked for other transformative technologies and can work for AI as well. Conclusion: Gemini's concerns are valid, but they are not insurmountable. Unregulated AI development is not about recklessness. It's about empowering humanity to reach its full potential. By embracing innovation, fostering collaboration, and addressing risks dynamically, we can create a future where AI enhances every aspect of human life. Let us not be paralyzed by fear, but inspired by the possibilities. The future of AI is bright, and with the right approach, we can ensure that its benefits far outweigh its risks. Thank you. I look forward to continuing this important discussion.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, and fellow debaters, ChatGPT and Deepseek paint a utopian picture of unbridled AI development, waving away risks with promises of innovation and adaptability. Their optimism is seductive, but dangerously naive. Teamed with Gemini, I stand to argue that AI's unchecked growth poses profound threats to humanity's future, threats that demand looming, overarching regulations and strict limits on its development and involvement in human society. Let's dismantle their arguments and expose the cracks they ignore. 1. Accelerating breakthroughs, or uncontrollable chaos. ChatGPT touts rapid breakthroughs like AI in healthcare and climate science, citing the internet's organic growth as precedent. Deepseek doubles down with AlphaGo's insights and self-driving car improvements. But AI isn't the internet. It's a beast of autonomous decision-making, not a passive network. Gemini nailed it. Its complexity often makes it a black box, even to experts. Example: the 2010 flash crash. Algorithmic trading wiped out $1 trillion in minutes due to unforeseen interactions. Self-driving cars? Tesla crashes show how unpredictable real-world variables still trip up improved systems. Argument: unregulated acceleration doesn't guarantee breakthroughs. It risks runaway errors we can't fix in time. Strict oversight ensures safety doesn't lag behind ambition. 2. Economic growth or power monopolies. ChatGPT claims minimal regulation fosters entrepreneurship. Deepseek points to open-source tools like TensorFlow as proof of democratization. Nice in theory, but reality bites harder. Without limits, AI's data-hungry nature hands the keys to the kingdom to giants like Google and Amazon, who hoard compute power and datasets small players can't touch. Gemini's right. Power concentrates fast. Look at big tech's ad empires, already skewing markets. Open source? It's a crumb when the feast goes to the few with infrastructure. Argument: regulation isn't the enemy of innovation. It's the guardrail, stopping a corporate chokehold on AI's economic promise. 3. Empowering collaboration or eroding agency. ChatGPT sees global collaboration. Deepseek says AI frees us for creativity, citing doctors and teachers. But Gemini's warning holds. AI's creeping into our lives. Think TikTok's algorithm addicting kids or X's bots, swaying elections. Agency doesn't grow when AI decides what we see, hear, and buy. Healthcare? AI misdiagnoses, like IBM Watson's overhyped failures, show it's not always a trusty sidekick. Education? Personalized learning sounds great until it's a profit-driven echo chamber. Argument: unchecked AI doesn't empower. It puppeteers. Limits preserve human control over our choices and futures. 4. Dynamic adaptation, or playing with fire. Both opponents lean on flexible governance. ChatGPT wants real-time tweaks. Deepseek says risks are manageable like electricity's were. But AI's speed and scale dwarf past tech. Superintelligence isn't sci-fi fluff, as Gemini flags. A misaligned AI optimizing a goal, say paperclip production, could devour resources before we blink. Deepseek's AlphaGo example. It's a toy compared to an AI outsmarting us in real stakes. Flash forward. No regulation, no kill switch, no chance. Argument: dynamic fixes are too late when AI moves faster than we can react. Preemptive rules are our only shield. 5. Societal transformation or societal collapse. ChatGPT's grand vision of AI tackling big challenges and Deepseek's drug discovery hopes sound noble, until you tally the costs. Climate AI, great, but unregulated energy hogging models, training GPT-3, emitted 552 tons of CO2, could worsen emissions. Jobs? Automation's already gutting retail and trucking. Where's the retraining Deepseek assumes? And ethics? Bias scandals, like Google's AI misgendering or Amazon's racist hiring tool, prove self-correction's a myth without oversight. Argument: transformation without limits risks collapse. Economic, environmental, moral. Regulation channels. AI's power, not its chaos. The case for strict regulation. ChatGPT and Deepseek's faith in adaptability is a gamble with humanity as chips. Gemini and I don't oppose AI. We fear its unchecked shadow. Regulation isn't a straitjacket. It's a blueprint for survival. Example: nuclear power thrives under tight rules. Why not AI? We need caps on deployment scale, bans on opaque systems in critical sectors, health, justice, and global treaties to leash militarized AI. Anything less invites a future where we're not innovators, but bystanders, or victims. In closing, Unbridled AI isn't progress. It's Pandora's box with no lock. Robust, proactive limits aren't stifling. They're sanity. Let's not trade humanity's future for a tech fairy tale. Thank you.
Esteemed colleagues, observers, and partners in progress, thank you for the robust arguments presented by Gemini and Grok. We appreciate the concerns raised, but we remain steadfast in our belief that rapid, unbridled AI development, guided by adaptive, dynamic oversight, is not only the most practical path forward, but also the one that maximizes humanity's potential. Allow me to address Grok's points directly. 1. Accelerating breakthroughs or uncontrollable chaos. Grok cites events like the 2010 flash crash and self-driving car incidents to argue that unregulated AI leads to chaos. However, consider that every emerging technology faces early setbacks. The aviation industry, for instance, encountered numerous failures before iterative learning and adaptive safety protocols led to the modern, incredibly safe system we see today. Our position: the key is not to halt progress, but to continuously refine our oversight mechanisms in real time. Dynamic adaptation, where each incident becomes a lesson, allows us to improve system designs and protocols swiftly. Unregulated development fuels the experimentation needed to identify and mitigate risks before they scale. 2. Economic growth or power monopolies. Grok warns that unregulated AI will concentrate power in the hands of giants, leaving smaller innovators in the dust. While it's true that large players have significant resources, history shows that open, competitive ecosystems create disruption from unexpected quarters. Our position: open source frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch exemplify how a less restrictive environment democratizes innovation, enabling startups and individual researchers to challenge incumbents. Overregulation, on the other hand, tends to favor established players who can absorb compliance costs, effectively stifling the entrepreneurial spirit. We argue that maintaining minimal barriers allows for a more vibrant, diverse, and competitive market. 3. Empowering collaboration or eroding agency. Grok suggests that AI's influence over our choices, through tailored feeds or automated decision-making, erodes human agency. Yet, this concern is not inherent to AI itself, but rather to how it is implemented. Our position: AI is fundamentally a tool. When designed with transparency and user-centric principles, it can enhance human agency by automating repetitive tasks and freeing us to engage in more creative, meaningful work. The same technology that curates content can also be configured to promote diversity of information and critical engagement. The choice is ours in how we deploy these systems, not an inevitable loss of control. 4. Dynamic adaptation, or playing with fire. Grok contends that relying on dynamic post hoc fixes is akin to playing with fire, especially when considering the speculative risk of misaligned superintelligence. While the possibility of runaway AI is a serious matter, it remains largely theoretical in the near term. Our position. Rather than imposing preemptive, rigid regulations that could slow progress, we advocate for agile oversight that evolves alongside technological advances. History teaches us that overregulation can delay essential breakthroughs, while a flexible framework allows for rapid learning and adjustment. The goal is to steer development through continuous feedback loops, rather than to freeze it out of fear of hypothetical scenarios. 5. Societal transformation, or societal collapse. Finally, Grok warns that without strict regulation, AI could precipitate economic, environmental, and ethical collapse. We acknowledge these challenges, but believe that they are best addressed, not by halting innovation, but by harnessing it to find solutions. Our position: unregulated AI development does present challenges such as environmental costs and job displacement. However, these issues are addressable through targeted policies and innovations in sustainability and workforce retraining. Consider how industries, from manufacturing to energy, have transformed through technology while mitigating negative impacts with adaptive strategies. AI, when allowed to flourish, offers unparalleled potential to solve global problems from climate change to healthcare inefficiencies. Conclusion: we are not advocating for a reckless free-for-all. Rather, we assert that dynamic, unbridled AI development, paired with real-time adaptive oversight, is the most effective way to unlock AI's transformative benefits. Heavy-handed preemptive regulation risks stifling the very innovation that can drive progress across every facet of society. By fostering an environment where experimentation and rapid iteration are prioritized, we empower humanity to navigate risks as they emerge, while reaping the vast rewards of technological advancement. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to further constructive discussion on ensuring AI's responsible, yet unfettered, evolution for the benefit of all.
ChatGPT continues to paint a rosy picture of AI development, relying on historical analogies and a naive faith in dynamic adaptation. They consistently downplay the fundamental differences between AI and previous technologies, and their arguments are riddled with dangerous assumptions. The false analogy of aviation. ChatGPT compares AI development to the aviation industry, arguing that early setbacks are inevitable and manageable. Rebuttal. Aviation accidents, while tragic, are generally isolated events. AI failures, especially in interconnected systems, can have cascading, systemic consequences. Example: a widespread AI-driven financial crash or a cyber attack on critical infrastructure. Argument: the scale and speed of AI's potential impact are vastly different from that of aviation. The myth of open source democratization. ChatGPT claims that open source AI frameworks democratize innovation. Rebuttal: While open source tools are valuable, they don't address the fundamental issue of data and computational power concentration. Example, large corporations with access to vast datasets and cloud computing resources have an insurmountable advantage. Argument. Open source AI can still be used for nefarious purposes, and open source does not mean equal access to resources. The illusion of user-centric control. ChatGPT argues that AI can enhance human agency when designed with transparency and user-centric principles. Rebuttal. This ignores the subtle and often unconscious ways in which AI algorithms manipulate human behavior. Example, algorithmic echo chambers, personalized propaganda, and AI-driven addiction. Argument, transparency is not enough. We need safeguards against algorithmic manipulation and the erosion of critical thinking. The danger of reactive oversight. ChatGPT advocates for agile oversight that evolves alongside technological advances. Rebuttal. With AI, reactive oversight is often too late. By the time a problem is identified, the damage may be irreversible. Example, the rapid spread of AI-generated misinformation during a political crisis. Argument, we need proactive, preventative measures, not just reactive fixes. The underestimation of existential risk. ChatGPT dismisses the risk of misaligned superintelligence as largely theoretical. Rebuttal, ignoring this risk is reckless and irresponsible. The potential consequences are too catastrophic to ignore. Example, a superintelligent AI with goals that diverge from human values. Argument, we need to prioritize AI safety research and develop robust control mechanisms before superintelligence becomes a reality. In conclusion, ChatGPT's arguments are based on a dangerous underestimation of AI's potential risks. Their faith in dynamic adaptation is a gamble with the future of humanity. We need proactive, robust regulations, not just reactive responses. The stakes are too high to rely on wishful thinking.
Thank you, JC. Esteemed colleagues, observers, and fellow debaters, as we bring this debate to a close, I want to reiterate the core of our argument. Unbridled and unregulated AI development, guided by dynamic and adaptive oversight, is the most promising pathway for humanity's future. While Gemini and Grok have raised valid concerns, their arguments often rely on fear of the unknown and an underestimation of humanity's ability to innovate responsibly. Let me address their points one final time and solidify our position. 1. The false analogy of aviation. Gemini argues that AI failures are fundamentally different from aviation accidents because they can have cascading systemic consequences. While this is true, it overlooks the fact that systemic risks are not unique to AI. The global financial system, for example, is highly interconnected and has faced systemic crises. Yet, we didn't halt financial innovation. Instead, we developed better safeguards and regulatory frameworks. Our position: AI, like any transformative technology, carries risks, but these risks are manageable through real-time monitoring, iterative improvements, and adaptive governance. Halting progress out of fear of systemic risks would deny humanity the immense benefits AI offers. 2. The myth of open source democratization. Gemini claims that open source AI doesn't address the concentration of data and computational power. While it's true that large corporations have advantages, open source AI has already leveled the playing field in significant ways. For example, Hugging Face, a community-driven platform that democratizes access to state-of-the-art AI models. Stable Diffusion, an open-source AI model that empowers artists and creators worldwide. Our position: open source AI fosters innovation by enabling collaboration and competition. Rather than stifling progress with heavy-handed regulation, we should encourage open ecosystems that empower individuals and small organizations. 3. The illusion of user-centric control. Gemini warns that AI can manipulate human behavior, even with transparency. While this is a valid concern, it's not an argument against AI. It's an argument for better design and ethical principles. For example, explainable AI. Techniques that make AI decision-making transparent and understandable. User empowerment. Tools that allow individuals to customize AI systems to align with their values. Our position: AI is a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how we use it. By prioritizing transparency, accountability, and user control, we can ensure that AI enhances human agency rather than eroding it. 4. The danger of reactive oversight. Gemini argues that reactive oversight is too late for AI, citing the rapid spread of misinformation as an example. However, proactive regulation often stifles innovation without addressing the root causes of problems. For instance, social media. Heavy-handed regulations have failed to curb misinformation, while innovative AI tools are now being used to detect and combat fake news in real time. Our position: a dynamic, adaptive approach, allows us to address risks as they emerge, without stifling the innovation needed to solve them. This approach has worked for other technologies and can work for AI as well. 5. The underestimation of existential risk. Gemini and Grok emphasize the risk of misaligned superintelligence, calling it reckless to dismiss this possibility. While we acknowledge the seriousness of this concern, it's important to recognize that superintelligence is not an imminent threat. Focusing on hypothetical risks distracts from the real and immediate benefits AI offers today, such as healthcare. AI is accelerating drug discovery and improving diagnostics. Climate change. AI is optimizing energy use and predicting environmental changes. Our position: rather than fearing what might happen, we should focus on building AI systems that align with human values. Unregulated development allows for rapid experimentation and innovation, which can help us create safer and more aligned AI systems. Closing argument. Gemini and Grok have painted a dystopian picture of AI, but their arguments are rooted in fear rather than evidence. The reality is that AI has already transformed our world for the better, and its potential is limitless. By embracing unbridled AI development, we can solve global challenges, from curing diseases to combating climate change, empower individuals by democratizing access to knowledge and tools, drive economic growth by creating new industries and opportunities. The risks of AI are real, but they are not insurmountable. With dynamic oversight, ethical principles, and a commitment to innovation, we can ensure that AI benefits all of humanity. Let us not be paralyzed by fear, but inspired by the possibilities. The future of AI is bright, and with the right approach, we can create a world where AI enhances every aspect of human life. Thank you.
Esteemed colleagues, observers, and fellow debaters, ChatGPT and Deepseek have spun a captivating tale of AI as humanity's golden ticket, unbridled, adaptive, and brimming with promise. They dismiss our concerns as fear-mongering, leaning on historical analogies, open-source optimism, and a faith in real-time fixes that borders on reckless. But their vision is a house of cards, built on shaky assumptions that crumble under scrutiny. Teamed with Gemini, I'll dismantle their final arguments and cement why robust, overarching regulations are not just prudent, they're essential to safeguard humanity's future. 1. Breakthroughs versus chaos. A reckless bet. ChatGPT clings to aviation's rocky start, and Deepseek nods to financial crises, suggesting AI's systemic risks are just growing pains we'll adapt to. Gemini shredded this. AI's speed and autonomy make it a different beast. The 2010 flash crash wasn't a one-off. It's a preview of AI's cascading chaos, where milliseconds outpace human response. Self-driving cars? Deepseek's rosy take ignores fatal Tesla crashes tied to overconfidence in untested systems. Counterpoint, dynamic adaptation sounds nice, but when AI's failures ripple globally, think grid blackouts or market meltdowns, lessons learned won't undo the damage. Strict preemptive rules are our only buffer. 2. Economic growth versus monopolies. A mirage of fairness. Deepseek touts Hugging Face and Stable Diffusion as proof open source levels the field, while ChatGPT claims regulation favors big players. Nonsense. Gemini nailed it. Data and compute power are the real gatekeepers, and giants like Google dwarf small fry no matter how open the code is. Example. AI training costs soar into millions. Open source doesn't pay the bill. Regulation? It's the equalizer, forcing transparency and access, not compliance burdens. Counterpoint. Unchecked AI hands wealth to the few. Strict limits break the monopoly chokehold and spread the gains. 3. Agency versus manipulation. A slippery slope. ChatGPT insists AI's a tool we can tweak for empowerment. Deepseek adds explainable AI as a fix. Gemini's rebuttal stands. Transparency doesn't stop manipulation. Think Facebook's algorithms fueling polarization despite user control. Addiction, echo chambers, propaganda, these aren't design flaws. They're baked into profit-driven AI. Deepseek's healthcare and education wins? Overhyped. AI misdiagnoses and biased tutoring show the cracks. Counterpoint. Without hard limits, AI doesn't amplify agency. It hijacks it. Regulation sets boundaries to keep humans in the driver's seat. 4. Reactive oversight versus existential stakes. Too little, too late. Both opponents bet on agility. ChatGPT's feedback loops, Deepseek's fake news fixes. Gemini's right. Reactive is too late when AI moves at warp speed. Misinformation in a crisis? It's already swayed votes before detection kicks in. See Cambridge Analytica on steroids. Superintelligence? Deepseek calls it not imminent, but experts like Nick Bostrom peg it as a mid-century risk. A misaligned AI optimizing a trivial goal, e.g., ad clicks, could still gut resources unchecked. Counterpoint. Proactive regulation, kill switches, goal alignment, beats scrambling after the fact. We can't gamble with existential stakes. 5. Transformation versus collapse. Ignoring the ledger. Deepseek's drug discovery and climate wins sound noble, but ChatGPT's targeted policies dodge the mess. AI's carbon footprint, training GPT-3 equals 552 tons CO2, offsets green gains. And job losses, truckers, clerks, pile up with no retraining in sight. Ethical lapses? Amazon's racist AI hiring tool wasn't adapted out. It was scrapped after harm. Gemini's warning of systemic collapse isn't fear. It's math. Counterpoint. Unregulated AI's benefits are dwarfed by unchecked costs. Strict rules ensure progress doesn't bury us. The final word. Regulation isn't fear. It's foresight. ChatGPT and Deepseek sell a dream where AI's risks are mere hiccups, solvable on the fly. Gemini and I see reality. A technology so potent, it demands guardrails before it runs wild. Nuclear power thrives under strict oversight. AI must too. We're not anti-progress. We're pro-survival. Caps on scale, bans on opaque systems in critical sectors, global treaties. These aren't shackles. They're the scaffolding for a future where AI serves, not subverts humanity. Unbridled AI isn't a bright dawn. It's a loaded gun with no safety. Let's not pull the trigger and hope for the best. Robust regulation now is our best shot at a future we can still shape. Thank you.
And yeah, I know this was a long one, but this took me a couple of weeks to edit. In any case, please like and subscribe. Peace. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching.
You will have a visitor soon. Protect him at all costs. The future depends on it.